Welcome to Your Thoughts channel, where we will tell the scariest and most horrifying stories that have ever happened in our world. If you are an adrenaline junkie and looking for something that will scare you, then you have come to the right place. Our stories are based on real events that have happened to many people around the world. Some of them may seem unbelievable and fantastic, but they are real. If you are ready to hear these horror stories, now is the time to pour yourself a cup of coffee or tea. Get comfortable and we will begin. I was walking home from work one night when I felt a presence behind me. I turned around to see a man standing there, but something about him made my blood run cold. His eyes were a deep dark red, and his teeth were unnaturally sharp. I tried to back away, but he lunged at me with lightning fast speed. I ran as fast as I could, but he was right behind me, chasing me through the dark streets. My heart pounded in my chest, and I could feel his breath on my neck. I turned a corner and found myself in a dead-end alley with nowhere to go. He cornered me against the wall, his eyes glowing in the darkness. I could feel his hunger and thirst for my blood, and I knew I was in trouble. But before he could strike, a group of people appeared from out of nowhere and chased him away. Shaken and terrified, I went home and tried to forget the encounter. But the memory of that night haunted me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. I thought I had put the encounter behind me, but then strange things began to happen. I would wake up in the middle of the night to find my windows open, even though I was sure I had closed them before going to bed. I would hear strange noises outside my apartment, like something scratching at the walls. One night, I woke up to find a figure standing at the foot of my bed. It was the man from the alley, his eyes still glowing with that otherworldly red light. He reached out to grab me, but I was frozen with fear. But then something inside me snapped. I was done running and hiding. I was going to face my fear head-on. I grabbed a nearby lamp and swung it at the man with all my might. It shattered on impact, but he recoiled in surprise. I seized the opportunity and ran out of the room, grabbing a stake and a cross from the living room. I burst back into the bedroom and lunged at the man with the stake. It hit him in the heart, and he let out a blood-curdling scream. He crumbled to the ground, his body disintegrating into ash. I fell to the ground, exhausted and exhilarated. I had faced my fear and come out victorious. But the memory of that encounter still lingers in my mind, a reminder that there are things out there in the darkness that we can't fully comprehend. It was a dark and lonely road, with no sign of civilization for miles. I was driving through the wilderness, just trying to get to my destination before the night fell completely. Suddenly, I saw something moving in the distance. It was a figure, darting between the trees, moving faster than any human could. As I got closer, I realized with horror that it was a vampire. Its eyes glinted in the darkness, and its fangs glistened in the moonlight. I slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. The vampire was upon me. It landed on the hood of my car, its claws scratching at the windshield. I could see its face, twisted in a snarl of rage and hunger. I tried to back away, but it was too strong. It ripped the door open, and I felt its icy breath on my face. "Come with me," it hissed, its voice low and menacing. "You belong to us now." I tried to fight back, but it was no use. The vampire was too fast, too strong. It dragged me from the car and into the darkness. For hours, I ran through the forest, trying to escape the vampire's grasp, but it was always there, watching, waiting. Its eyes never left me, and its thirst for blood was insatiable. I was terrified, alone and lost. The vampire was always just behind me, waiting to strike. Finally, I stumbled upon an abandoned cabin. I bolted the door and barricaded myself inside. The vampire prowled outside, its snarls echoing through the night. I knew I couldn't stay there forever. The vampire would find a way in eventually. As the night wore on, I realized that the only way to escape was to face the vampire head-on. I had to fight back. I took a deep breath and flung open the door. The vampire was there, waiting for me. We circled each other, each waiting for the other to make a move. Finally, the vampire lunged. I dodged out of the way and grabbed a nearby stake. I plunged it into the vampire's heart, and it crumbled to dust at my feet. I was safe, but forever changed. The memory of that night would haunt me for the rest of my life. And I knew that there were more vampires out there, waiting in the darkness, ready to pounce on their next victim. As I got back into my car and drove away, I knew that I would never forget the terror of that night, and I knew that I would never be the same again. These were our scary stories about vampires. Who knows what horrors lurk in the darkness, and what may await us the next time we find ourselves on a dark street or alone in the woods. But remember, vampires exist only in the world of fantasy and mysticism, while real horror may be found in human nature. Subscribe to our channel and tell us in the comments if you have any scary stories of your own. Be careful and take care of yourself.